Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Dream Labs. I'm just trying to get the chat box fixed up, so hopefully on Terrace, hope you're still there. Let me know if you hear me okay, and we'll get this thing rolling here. So thanks so much for your patience, and I'll just hold on a moment to make sure everything's good as far as sound is concerned, because on my end, I can't send out the message or the chat. I just lost that box in one corner there, so hopefully we'll be okay here. Just want to let you know that good to be back on board, and really a lot of good, interesting things happened over like a week or so. Since I've not been able to stream. Last week I could not go live because I had a meeting I had to attend I could not miss. So yeah, very good, and super. That's great, Terrace. Thank you so much. I hope you're well, and cranking away at it. And by the way, before I begin, I want to take a moment to thank you very, very, very sincerely for the input you put forward on the work I did on the aircraft, and sending those pieces back about your evaluation of those pieces were excellent. I took advantage of some of the comments you made and began to put together a program here today, and you'll see what the results of that were on part 2. So what we're looking for here is I'm going to go through a little bit of a review, and then I'll show you what we've got to deliver sometime throughout the course of the day here today. Interesting things. I've got a couple of color pieces to kind of show you, and we'll kind of detail some things and wrap it all up here. But this goes back about 2 weeks ago. I did a series of sketches, and just a quick review here. This is the first plate I did, and there was something intriguing about this shape right here. Where am I here? This shape kind of was really kind of a romantic looking form, where it was tailless, had a real low slope to it. Really interesting thing to look at here. So the variations on theme, a couple of elevations here, and then some planform pieces. And again, the planforms are interesting, but maybe a bit too complicated for the actual shape of the very soft forms we're looking at here. So that was sketch 1. Let me just go real quickly here. Sketch 2, same basic theme, got a little chubbier with it and a little more accentuated with this elevation study here. But interesting, I started to look on some neat shapes here. This kind of a bit bulky here, so I kind of looked at that as a point of reference to say, okay, that's a start. Maybe the fuselage is interesting, but this is kind of got to be cleaned up a little bit. The whole thing should need to be cleaned up a bit. So that we want to take care of. So that's what one of the things I was really looking at. This elevation, front elevation, was interesting. So I think you'll see this a little bit later on. How I use that, I think, is a very strong statement in terms of putting this stuff together, and had an interesting character to it. Then I went from that phase into almost like a sheer triangular, polar triangle piece, a little sharper, a little harder edged, and so that's phase 2. A little further with the studies here. This is an interesting plan view, but maybe had to be opened up a little bit. The perspective looked pretty good, but I think if I went back to this shape again, I'd flatten it up a little bit and just to stretch it a little bit more, so it's more aero-like as opposed to being such a very heavy-looking, bulky rear 3/4 study here. So that was part of it there, and we went into this next study, just a couple plan views, looking at maybe the variations on theme for wing patterns. This was a little bit cleaner, a little bit bulky on this end, so that's what you go through the exploratory stuff for. Sometimes it can work as well. Sometimes it can give me a little bit of a headache in terms of maybe too much too soon. Learn to simplify and keep it nice and easy. But if I took that wing form out of there, that dart was kind of interesting. So you'll see a little bit of that later on today too in the stream. So the plan view series. Then the last one. Went back to, again, that sharp elevation, a little bit cleaner here, but that more stealth-like. But again, back to that same shape again, where they had that really kind of romantic, almost B2 spirit feel to it, but a little bit more, a little cleaner than the first one we showed you here. For example, let me get those guys back up on board here. Look at how that variation right there, just a little bit different than what fit on here. Yeah, look at that variation here. Got a little cleaner as opposed to being a big drop in the wing form itself. So little things along the way that made a huge difference. So let's move along here. That was all 2 weeks ago, some of the review studies here. Then from that review series 2 weeks ago, I put together some pretty interesting form studies here, but I want to show you where we were here. I went back to this, and I'm just getting ready to do a little bit of color. This is almost a 3-set study here, where I have a plan view looking at it. Then I've got a variation on theme here. So if you don't mind, I'm going to take a moment here and kind of ink this in and show you the other 2 pieces in addition to this one we're working on here. So let's take a moment here. This will fit on the screen. That make it all right? We'll uncover this piece in a moment here. I just want to take a second here and just stain in some of these surfaces we're dealing with here. So let's go back and look at these guys. I'll turn this just a bit here. Let's kind of frost these guys in. Just put a little bit of tone to it. Just clean it up just a touch. Some gesture into this thing. You know, the top of this guy. Let's get the form. Let's get the body form in. Just basic body form. Roll that in, and then just kind of fill it in. A little bit of highlight in here, where that shape is going to come up, and just take this right through, and just take a little bit of that ink, push it through. Just a little bit more of that, like that, and then into that, and then into this ring form. Just very subtle, keeping them simple, and hopefully getting the job done here. Just enough. It's going to put that just enough to put that all together. Now underneath here, a little more body shape into this, a little more roundness into it. And taking that through. Now that's that guy in. Let's go back here. Just pick up just a little conversation on where the cockpit might rest. A little bit of a tone change here. Part of the insert, engine insert. Get that to square away. And let's take that underbody and just put a little bit of darkness underneath that thing, just to kind of take me through the shape just a bit. Drop it in the canard. This canard to read a little bit. It comes off of that basic form. Let's go back and get this thing to fill in here. One more time. And just a little bit of this underneath the underbody here, just kind of carry that through with a little bit of a tail shot at it here. And there it is. That gets it in. A little more tone in here. Let's take this guy. Let's bring this down to maybe about a number 5 gray here. Let's get this landing gear pants here. A little bit of detail in this thing, a little darker here where that nacelle is. Let's bring this into play. Scrub this in, get that ready. Let's take this heat plate back here and just kind of tint it in a bit. A little darker definition for the glass here. Let's get this front pant to work. Now, let's put a bit of definition in this thing. This canopy area here. I rotate the pad a little bit here. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, thanks very much. I think it's much more contemporary looking. It's not as conventional. It's just a little rounded form, tailless. It has a nice, interesting shape to it. I'm just gonna move this out of the way here a second. Let me stain this in here. We'll get you back on the screen here. rotate it again here. Thank you. Okay, let's spin in here. Get this up just a bit more. Clean this line up a bit. Yeah, it's better. Let's go back in and put a little bit of shadow in these wheel pants here. Is this working all right? There, got it. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Put a little bit of definition in this guy. And it's a little bit of a landing gear touch here. A bit of lighting system on it. Keep it nice and simple. And at the same time, maybe just a touch here of a little landing gear on the end here. Some warning lights as we go. I'm going to just rotate this guy a bit. Into that. And we'll put something right in through here. Just a little bit of warning system here. That's that. Let's go back in just a touch more, a little more detail in this nacelle area here. And there's a little bit of, there's an elevation study on that first form there. What do you think, Antares? Making sense here? Pardon me, let's get this little spear in here. Define that just a little bit more. There it is. Just a touch up on top of that fuselage. A little bit of reverse highlight here, indicating where the canopy is. Cut line. And back in through here, let's get that guy soon. Again, there's very simple elevation. There should be, so hopefully that's one study in place. What do you think? So far, so good. Coming along here. Let's see, let's go back in here, and we'll move right along here. Second variation. Same basic form. Scrub it in. And just a little variation in shape. That's that. Let's go a little deeper underneath here. Where's that number 5 gray? Yeah, let's get this. Oh, that's not it. And number 5. There it is. Let's put a little bit. Let's go a little deeper in here. Canopy. And just for what it's worth, let's kind of play this in just a touch here. Landing gear bay. And let's have a little fun with this thing. Squadron marking back here. And up there. One there. Let's get that number 5 gray again back in here. Get those landing gear pants squared away. Hope that's in the film. There it is. Let me straighten that up a bit here. More definition here. We turn this upside down. That's better. Let's think about a number 3 gray and just kind of tone this back just a bit here. It's okay. There he's got it. And again, just a touch here. There's phase two, a little softer, same basically oval shape. The pant system is really kind of a neat looking, bold appearance of the shape itself. So, so far so good. Oh, put a little detail on this receiver here. There we go, a little bit of designation on that part of the aircraft. Let's put a little bit more spike in that little offset. And then the engine nacelle, kind of picking up this character over here. So there it is. There's two little studies here. I'll reveal that other one up in a moment here. We get this last one put in. Let's have some fun with this guy. Let's take this and just real strong statement here. Pardon me as I move the pad around a bit here, guys. Better yet, let's do this. Let's move it down just another notch. Turn this around a bit here. Put this underbelly in place. That's got that. Let's finish this out. Let's put a little bit of the shadow underneath there. The wheel pants themselves. Number 4 gray. Oh, here it is. Yep, there it is. All right, so that's that. It's going to start here. Now let's go up to the upper. And give it the same treatment. see, what did I do with it? There it is. There it is. Oop, that's not it. I do with that number 7. There it is. Put a shadow in this pant area. That number 4 gray. Stain this just a bit more. Bright yellow. And hopefully, let's do a little more shadow in this guy. Make it more believable. Well, there it is, guys. What do you think? Antares with you, that lineup. Interesting. Got some merit to it. Hopefully that'll work for us here. Very cool page. Yeah, I think that's an interesting set of studies here. Let me just do this. Kind of give this guy a little more impact here. That's a little better. A bit of highlight back in here. Give it some strength. There we go. Yeah, I think there's a lot of, I'm not quite sure. A big highlight there, a little bit of highlight underneath. I'm not really a big fan of the tail fan. I think it's the cleaner the better the shape. I always go back to the original sketch we were looking at. Let me bring that back for a moment here. Almost goes back to that same family right there where you've got that real teardrop shape to it, but has a bit really slimmed up the wing surface. So I hope that really works well. Hey, thanks very much, Antares. You like that? Pretty good? Well, let's get rid of this thing, and let's get rid of this. I'm going to do this just for a moment here. A little bit of pastel in this guy. Bring the page together, and then we'll show you the other two pieces I'm working with here. So thanks for your patience. So what do you think, Antares? I mean, these guys making sense for you? You having a favorite, A, B, or C, or just curious? Yeah, you think the shark bite on the other? Yeah, that's interesting too. It's a little more bulbous too. It's not nearly as clean. So let's do this. I'm going to go back here. Let me stand up for a second here. And we got to mix up some color. Bring this all together and see if we can't put a little bit of tone in this guy. And put a little more blue in this guy here. We have a seat. Get this guy put together. And let's see what that does. Just going to crossfire this thing just a bit. A little more color of blue in here. Now, let's see what we can do here. And get this brush here, clean this thing up a little bit. Get that color out of there. Put a pastel drop in this guy. And again, same thing in here. Let's clean it up just a bit. And just break this guy just a touch here on this end. And I think we might have it there. There's a little bit of color here. Scrub this out just a touch. There we go. Just something to give a little more body to it here. So let me smooth that out of the way and see what we've got. Let's put this over here. Get rid of my image over there. There we go. Let's get this back on the page here. There's A. Keep these guys for another time here. And then there's B. It's a little bit of a drop in this guy. Just gotta give it a presence here. Let's see what this is. What do you think, Antares? Making sense? There she be. Hard to pick a favorite. Yeah, it's fun. And that's the neat thing about doing this whole process, where you really get into a lot of materials that may make decisions sometimes pretty tough. So let's do this. Where am I here? Yeah, let's get rid of some of the excess here around the frame. And we'll come back in and just pick this up just a bit more. There it is. Break that up. And that's set. Let's go back in and just do a little bit more definition in this guy right here. Let's see what I'm going to do with this guy. Number 3, 4, 5. 5 gray in there, I think. Yeah, 4 should do it. And last but not least, I think Antares come together okay. One thing, I get to clean this up just a bit here. Yeah, it's a bit much. There we go. Leave that just about right there. And there you go. There she be. What do you think, gang? Pretty good? Helping along here? Let me just move that up the square line. There it is. There's a page here that we can kind of look at. And I think we're on our way here. What do you think? Antares making sense? I mean, it's a pretty simple study, but I think nonetheless a lot of fun in putting it all together in terms of where we want to take this beauty. So that was one of the family of forms I established just earlier on. And I thought it was interesting to take a look at and go back and reanalyze what we had and put together a page here to kind of make some sense. And while I'm at it here, let me do this real quickly. And we'll move on to the next one here and just show you what we've got as far as development goes. Let's move this out of the way so it doesn't become an interference. There we are. So there's phase one, and there she be. So I don't know if you're still with me, Antares, or not, but what do you think? Making sense? Going back to that again, the whole idea here, the whole stream is to develop just some aircraft surface change or development of forms, looking at the detailing and putting it all together, and how the shapes begin to put together, or pieces to put together, and so just overall, just rendering in terms of keeping them simple, just to get a flavor of a whole new look. Just interesting things here. So let's do this. Let me show you. There was the first one we did. Let me get this out of the way here. And I'm just going to bring these two up. We'll kind of have a little conversation with them here. So after those form studies were done, I was going to bring this back for a moment. I took basically this basic shape right here and modified it just a little bit to kind of give it that no wing look, no sponson, or pardon me, airline character to it. But I added to it just to see what it would look like. So that came into play by doing this. This was a second sketch we looked at here. Just a very simple little detail piece here. I'm going to take the tape off of this guy here, or better yet, I've got it all set to go. Let's do this and add a little bit of color to this thing. Sit down here. We'll go back and discuss it in just a moment here. I'm going to go more by hand here, I think, this time. Kind of make some good impact. Just going to blend it in. Try to get more of a cloud pattern. And just keep it nice and circular here, if we can, up on top. Just two in a squadron. Now let's move this in. Let's see if we can get a little bit of this to work for us now. Do the same thing with this pastel. Get it up underneath here. Kind of soften it off as it goes away into the distance here. Let's see. And maybe a little bit of purple in here. Okay, I'm going to change the pace here. Reflect that into the actual form itself. Mix that in just a bit. Let's get some of that down through here. A little bit of a color here. Let's just get this, get some shape out of this thing now. Kind of fills in the blanks a bit, I think. So there's that little set here. What do you think here? There you go. There she is. And I'm going to move some of this tape out of the way here. And we can kind of just wrap this thing up a little bit here. Let me just move this, pardon me. What do you think, Antares? This is kind of that same variation on theme. This family of shapes here started it. That family started it, and I picked one of these directions and went into maybe a thumbnail, a little painterly study here. Let me get rid of these guys too. I'm going to make a mess out of this thing. So a little bit of background in this guy. So there's that. Move that a little bit later. That. I need to get rid of some of this on the end here. And I think that just about does it there, I think, for that guy. I mean, it's an interesting set of circumstances, obviously. Let's take this out right off the page here. Let's take this off the page. So, what do you think, Antares? So the squadron system, I think it works pretty nicely, putting it in context. I added a tails section to it. I'm not quite sure if that's the way I want to go with that at all, but not anyway. It's in there. Let's just put a little highlight back into this thing too. Just drop a little bit of highlight in there. Clean that up just a bit. And some of that cloud pattern to kind of sing up with the top of the shape here. I might add a little bit of temper later. I'm not sure if I'm going to go that route with the temper. Let's get rid of this guy here. Just clean up just a bit, some areas. But I think that I think it has a certain melody about it that I'm really kind of favoring. And there it is. We could do. No, I'm going to keep it nice and clean, just like that. So, what do you think, Antares? I mean, this it's making sense. I'm trying to see these family of forms come together and how we're dealing with them. There it is. I put that together. Set this guy here. There it is. Center it up. What do you think? The squadron system looks pretty good. I mean, I think that's kind of fits the bill here. Just going to take that out of the way, and let's do this. Let's sign this guy here, and we should be in good shape. And I'll come back and we do a bit of temper work, and I'll show you that maybe next week once we get things organized here. Let's just get rid of that line there. There she is. So there's two. It's 1 and 2. And let me show you one last thing to go around here before we kind of wrap up the day here. And I'll go back in a little bit more detail. Maybe I'll show you some of the finish, but I add some white tempera and get some things squared away. But I don't want to take a lot of time here. Anyway, there's that one. Now the last one here, this is an overhead. Same kind of process here with the same basic overall family of shapes, but went to this approach where we ran the squadron of maybe a little bit less tail. Much more, just a little bit of a more dramatic overhead and casting a shadow on the vehicle down below. And so that's the third one I looked at. I went to work after last week. I missed that week of material last week, so I thought I'd make the time up and really doing a nice, hopefully a nice package of putting these aircraft studies put together for us here. What do you think of this guy, Antares? Any commentary at all before we kind of a little bit of finish it up as best we can? Anything? So the evolution is really from start to finish, I think it's helped very well. But I think kind of wrapping up a little bit of color study makes a huge difference. Let's go back again here and just add some direct pastel to this thing and finish this beauty up. Let's see if we can put this all together here. Just blend it in by hand. Sometimes it's much more efficient to deal with it that way. And just enough color here to kind of give us a little bit of sense of where this squadron's headed. Just a little bit more, a bit of purple in here to kind of warm it up a bit more. to blend it in. Let's see if we can get some of this dust out of the way here. Let's see where we are. A little bit of paper breathe in there. And let's see if we can get rid of some of this stuff here. Let's put a little more powder back into a little bit more blue in here. Take off some of the purple. And hopefully we'll get this guy to really run for us here. So might be a bit bold down below. Kind of get rid of that with the eraser here. Let's go back in and just clean this up just a touch. All right, that turns. What do you think? It's phase 2. I got this on here, a little bit of that. It's just a little bit more cone color in here. Blend it all in. What do you think? Nope, just put a little bit of touch over it just to kind of let it pass through here just a bit. Just a touch. Up on top. I think that frames it kind of nicely here. Hopefully that will work for us. I don't go too far with this stuff. Sometimes it gets really touchy. I'm going to add some, between now and next week, add some tempera, a little more highlight in this thing. But let's see what we've got here as far as border goes and get rid of some of this tape. See what we've got up with here. There's one. Get rid of this. Take some of that out of the way here. Let me turn this over just a bit here. And that line up here. Let's get rid of this upper piece. And there she is. A little bit too much color here, but I can soften that off throughout the course of the week here and show you the finished product coming in next Wednesday. Hopefully all is well. Get rid of that. And there it is, gang. What do you think? There you are. So there should be 1 and 2. Get a little bit of tussy back in through here so I can get some of that white back out of this thing. Yeah, it's better. Yeah. A little softer. There you go. And maybe down in through here too if I can. Grind that out of there. Yeah, that's better. Blend it a little bit more. There we go. I think that's going to be all right. That's kind of a nice little return into the actual shape itself. Previous a bit more organic, more hard edge and chunky. Really cool to see you experiment. Yeah, thanks very much, Antares. I think this is more of a very soft Let's take a look at these guys side by side. There's that soft material there, and there's that one squadron coming right at you. So we're going to clean that up a little bit here and add some temper to it for next week. And these, again, this is where we started. Family of forms to kind of pick from, put it all together. Plan view and some elevation studies. Then the last one we just finished up was this guy here. So hopefully that kind of gets us home throughout the course of this session. Really appreciate the time here, folks, today, and can't thank you enough, Antares, for hanging in there and working with me and providing, again, great input. Always respect that tremendously. I much appreciate it coming from you. It's really great. So there we are here. Thanks very much. I appreciate it. Antares, I think what I'll do is maybe between now and next week, I might just kind of switch gears. I'll show you the finished product with some temper change and some of the cleanup work here on both these illustrations. But I think next week I might just start doing some very fundamental training stuff, maybe going back into maybe marker application. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to put together the program this week, see what we've kind of got in terms of what we need to develop and get working with here. But I want to go back to some more basic stuff instead of more of the rendering work, so maybe we get a chance to put together some really good learning systems here for myself as well. So hope all is well. That was great fun, gang, today. And again, 2 weeks ago we started the theme of form studies for fighter aircraft. Picked a couple of directions, put some illustrations together here, and fortunately, hope it worked for you. And again, Antares, much appreciated. Salute you, my man. You're doing a great job and really, really big help here, putting the pieces together for me. Huge difference, and cannot thank you enough. And I hope you have a great week. We look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Please visit my website at drcontrast.com. Have any commentaries? I'll drop you a note here, Antares, maybe before the end of the week is out. Please drop me a note at Dr. Contrast. Jim at drcontrast.com. Much appreciate your input, and above all else, I cannot thank you enough for the time here today. It's been a lot of fun. Stay tuned next week. I'm going to put together a package. I might not do any drawing next week. I might just kind of introduce some things. What if we do this? What if we try this? And if you have any ideas, Antares, what you'd like to see, much great appreciation. So absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much. I'll finish some detailing up on both these aircraft studies before we start next week. Stream, and hopefully have a plan of action to kind of put it all together. So all the very best to you. Thank you again for the time, Antares. Always an honor to have you on board. Thank you so much. Please tell your friends about the program here. I know you have. I'd love to get building my audience, and all the very best to you. Have a great week, and I always sign off with this because it's the most important part of the whole stream. Never forget to dare to remember to be great, because you are. All the best, gang. We'll see you next Wednesday. Thank you.